So, hi everyone, this is video 34. We thought we'd start this video by showing you that although you're going to see an untidy workshop through video 34, we've cleaned it all up and everything's really close to hand. We moved out of the old garage on the 20th of December, then we had to go up to Scotland, so we haven't had a lot of time. It does look a mess in the videos, I apologise for that, but it looks a lot better and much cleaner space to work in now. So enjoy the video. Lots of the parts going. Obviously, to get quite a big van to get those body panels in that were hanging on the wall. Alex putting a new sill on his Volvo at the moment, so we're getting the last out of the garage. We'll move out within 48 hours probably, but pretty much everything's gone now. I've got the welder obviously to put in, but yeah, that's about it. New chapter. Do a tag here. You need to.
It's like, hold on.
Yeah.
I hate these.
You need a hammer maybe. Push with a hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer. And you push it in.
Just here.
If you just like do this.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Should we swap? You good?
Yeah. That's our line.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you got it set to?
It should be on 0.8, yeah. Dad, can you give me the camera?
Everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to our new workshop, our new space in 2025. I call it a workshop. It's the basement of our house in southeast London. And we've already kind of gone through, we've got all the parts on shelves. We're now just restoring all the parts, so things that need new bushes, for instance, like the suspension. We're buying the bushes and fitting them. We've got a press here that we can fit the bushes in and take the old bushes out. We're just going to show you putting those parts together because the weather's not great, and then we'll get back to welding the car. And the car, as you know, is only 5 minutes from here. So you can see Santa Claus was good to me. Alex bought me a t-shirt of Aston Martin. We've got some other bits and pieces that we're going to show you. And just really welcome to 2025 in our workshop. I hope you will do us a favor and subscribe. And if you like what we're doing, maybe you could comment and hit the like button. That would be fantastic. It really does make a big difference to us. And yeah, Happy New Year. And I really hope you enjoy watching our exploits rebuilding the Torslander Aston Martin in 2025. So this is the top front wishbone assembly. I don't know if you can see that in the vise. No, not that well. There. So you don't really need to press these bushes out. They are steel in the inside with a rubber bush, and they're just like a press fit. Quick tip, these are off a Jaguar. I think I got these from Martin Roby, and they're about £22. I think the lower ones are 17, so £22 for 8 compared to about 70 or 80 pounds from Polybush for 8. It's got the same part number, and I took a bit of a guess, but it fits. You can see they fit perfectly on the bush, on the spline, and quite clearly they're exactly the same. Well, obviously these are slightly bigger because they're not worn like these ones are. That one should just come out. I mean, I have got a parts press, but I can probably just push that out. We've got the sandblaster in now from the workshop, and it's all working. Move that large loo roll. It's connected to a shop vac, which is really good because these are great cabinets. They're not very expensive at all. In the UK, I don't know what they're like in the US, but they take reasonably big parts and they do a great job, but they can get really dusty. I mean, you have to wear a mask anyway because I think we're using garnet. So the shop vac takes all of the dust out of the air anyway. I still wear a mask just in case. Um, so yeah, I'll get on with that. These are the shims. There are 4. Obviously, we may need more or less of those. I don't know. They set the car up like a lot of old cars use shims on the top wishbones, and basically it allows this part of the wishbone here. So you can see on here, those shims go on there, and they allow this to sit slightly out from the car, which means the top wishbones push the top of the wheel out, which gives you toe in, toe out. So that has been through the sandblaster, which we've got garnet in, and it's now been through the parts washer. A nice chap called Alan sold us this. As you saw in a previous video, I think we've got one of our hubs was probably to fit the BBS wheels that were on later Aston Martin V8s. This is one of the original hubs. We've got the right hand thread one, but we didn't have a left hand thread one, and really didn't want to manufacture one. Alan did a really lovely, he did a great price on this because they're quite hard to find. And yeah, we've got a template to make one, but really this is an original part. It's in very good condition. Anyway, it's in better condition now than it was when it arrived, because we've taken all the paint off it with the sandblaster, and I've just put it through the parts washer. So yeah, that will be ready to be just a quick clean up. There are bearing faces in here, so you do have to really give it a good clean. So I know it seems over the top putting through the parts washer, but if you leave garnet in there once the bearings go in, that's not good. The other thing we do is we'll put WD-40 around the bearing faces because they will rust. This basement isn't super dry, and WD-40 does a great job of getting rid of water. This is the paint I use. I'm not trying to advertise, so I'm not sponsored. This is VHT black, so very high temperature black, and it goes up to 650 degrees, which breaks it up to 700 when they're racing, but generally 300 degrees. But this does a really good job. We use this on Alex's car for all the wishbones. That was 3 years ago, and they still look like brand new. And we did the same on the Merc. So I'll just give them a quick dry off. The bearing faces, that is. There's one there. You can see. Can you see that? It's a curved face, and there's one at the back there. So we want to make sure that's nice and dry. So I've got a little heater, it gets very hot. That'll heat that up. We'll do a great job of getting rid of the residual moisture, and also it'll help the paint stick a little bit better. Yeah, needs a bit of a quick clean off, but I'll do that now. I've got a respirator on, but you can see that's a really beautiful finish. I'm going to breathe again. And that's just a very high temperature paint. Apologies for the Darth Vader soundtrack. Anyway, there you can see that's come up really nicely. That I painted is now wrapped. and ready to go. And under here are the upper near side wishbone mounts and all the bits and bobs that go to put them together, including the bushes. There's 2 more bushes to go, but that shows you how that SGS sandblaster does a fantastic job. But you'll see how it all works. So that goes on there. Oh, that bush fell off. That bush goes in there. You don't this, which has all been cleaned and painted. That goes on there. And once you put that on, you can see there's a key. There's a little key in there. And there's a little key. Can you see that on that washer? Hopefully you can. Maybe if I hold it against that can, you can see there's a little key on there, which ties in. So that slots on there. A lot of the parts had to be drilled out because everything was so rusty, because they didn't use stainless steel. And there's a lot of things. I mean, obviously stainless steel sometimes, for a part that's going to be under a lot of pressure, I mean, that's basically that, put back together. There are these ships. There you go, there's the well, partially finished item without the stainless steel, but you can see that nice to put on the car when we're getting back, and that can go with all the other bits over here. So this is the can you see me? This is the dashboard, obviously with all the gauges taken out of it. I have to take these out, but as you can see, this vinyl is all a bit wrecked. I think it's vinyl, maybe leather actually. Could be leather. I think it's vinyl, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. It needs to be replaced. It's full of holes. It can't be really salvaged. It's a shame for a car this good to be. You know, I wouldn't take that leather off, that leather or vinyl off, and put it back on. It's just not good enough. So I think that is leather actually, lined. But I'm going to take the leather, this off, take the material off it, and then rebuild this. It needs some work. You can see that some of the screws came out, the captured nuts came out when we took it apart. It's also very rusty on the back, and things like the earthing leads aren't looking very very good. So we'll take this off, get it in the parts washer, and get it in the if it will fit, we'll use the sandblaster on it, or media blaster. Even if it doesn't fit, what I can do is I can actually take it apart. It's put together, and we can put it in 2 pieces. But I think it will fit in. So media blast it, give it a really good clean, paint it so it lasts forever, because you can see that it was just bare metal originally, and they didn't bother protecting it at all, which is pretty useless in reality. It looks as if I'm going to have to take it apart anyway, because you can see the material through there is actually put in before this part is pop riveted on. So I'll take the pop rivets off that, take it apart, take the glass out for the indicator bulbs, and then give that a really good clean up. There you go. Right, the dashboard. This is covered in, it looks like it's vinyl, but we'll get black leather and replace that with black leather, and get that fitted. You have to take it off there because the leather actually is bound in the corners, and you can't get into it because this has a bar, you can see, which actually is riveted through. You can see it there. So we have to put the leather on first. That's the way it all fits. I've now taken that offending pin out of there. Sorry, out of there. This one came out. So I've taken that offending pin out of there and straightened that a bit. I'll straighten it some more. But unfortunately, this part here has been spot welded on. This flange here has been spot welded onto the face. You can see that they glued the vinyl onto this without painting it. Sacrilege. I mean, they did that on American cars on the roofs in the 60s as well. And water does get in, as you can see, even though there was a bit of glue, probably like an Evo stick, an impact adhesive. Water gets under there, or dampness gets under there, and it rusts. So that should have really been painted, and obviously we'll paint it. The problem we've got is getting that in there. So what we'll probably do is we'll replace those. Instead of having nuts on there, we'll use screws, and we'll put like a pop, like a captive nut in there, but it comes on the form of like a rivet, if we can. So this is the instrument cluster. You can see the shape. So that is above, in line with the yellows. And then you've got one which I've taken off, which is a red, and there's a red there. So they go in line with the ones that are closest to them, the red ones. And these look like they're chrome. They're not, actually. They're stainless. So you can get, the best way to get these off, I remember from a long time ago, is use a bit of tape in the gap and then hammer them. I mean, unless you've got the tool to take them off, which I don't have. But you can see I got the other one off. I don't know what I've done with it now. There it is. Quite nicely. And they go into those little, they're threaded basically. I mean, this is a bit of a mess. So you've got stainless steel into mild steel, but we'll clean those up and they'll go on back on quite happily. Okay, there you go. There's the instrument panel. It's been sandblasted, and there's still a few spots on it, but we'll put some rust remover on it. That's pretty much all I can get off. So they've just had a coat of cure rust. Remember that was spot welded. There's a piece spot welded to there, so it's quite handy because it goes down inside the gaps. I mean, we'll paint over that anyway, but it will cure the rust inside those gaps. And they have been coated inside and on, well, front side and on the backs. So that will take the vinyl. This will be finished a crackle coat, but cure rust actually works as a primer as well. So we can rub that surface down, we'll prime it, then we'll put the crackle coat on, and we'll put a black finish on the back probably to match the vinyl so it doesn't rust again. You can see that's the front of the dashboard, or the instrument cluster. I've painted that with primer. I'm just giving this a rub down with 400 grit. It's this stuff, it's a material. And the reason is this is getting covered in crackle paint, and you can see it's already showing up some imperfections. I don't want that to show through the, I mean, the chances are with crackle paint you won't even see it, but you should treat, you know, pieces like this that are going to be seen like you would the outside of a car. So that's got high build primer on it. Like you can see that imperfection right there. That needs rubbing out. You can see where I used a panel beating hammer there to knock that dent out. That, I don't know even how that happened, but I don't think it was us. And that dent has come out. You can see that's no longer there. It's flat like that side. But yeah, we'll paint it again and flatten it again, and then we'll paint the back black, and we'll wait for the crackle finish to arrive to do the front, which arrives in a couple of days. That's just been through the blaster. It needs a bit more tidying up, but we can't turn it round in the blaster because it's too small. But it's done a really good job, and that's the base of the air filter box. Just to show you quickly, I'm using molybdenum grease on this. They are rubber bushes, but there's a steel collet inside, so the grease is really to go between the steel collet and the wishbone arm. This grease probably is quite old. It's probably 80, so it's probably only about 10 years old in the car. But it's been properly sealed. 1.1 pounds of grease, BP. There you go, even using classic grease. And the washers and everything off this are perfect, so they're going back on. We'll replace these. Are they 3/4? 19 mil? What's 19 mil?
19 mil is
3/4, isn't it? Anyway, they're Nylux, and we've got some coming, and that's ready to go back on the car. And I didn't grease the other one, so I'll take that part again and grease it before it goes to bed.
So we are going to rebuild the rear calipers on this because they're essentially Jaguar calipers, but we don't want to buy whole new ones because they're in okay condition. So what we need to do is we need to get the cylinders out. So we'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to move you closer. So as you can see, there are cylinders with pistons like this, and as you can see, they're not that well, but the way you get these out is by using compressed air in one of the brake holes and blocking off the other one, and then oiling. And if that doesn't work, if that doesn't make them go bang, you've got to make sure you don't have anything in there because it'll break your fingers.
Like a hand.
Yeah,
it would actually.
It would really
comes
go
out like
through
a
you.
bullet.
Yeah. If that wouldn't come out, then what you do is you grab a chisel. I mean, this obviously means that these pistons are then dead. It means the pistons are dead. You have to get new ones, but that's okay. So what you do is you chisel, and you might be able to see it rotate. See it rotate? So you see it rotates around like that, and then what you do is you get someone to blow air in while you chisel it. Make sure your hands are out of the way, and it should pop out like this.
Oops, sorry, the other one. Because the other one's.
Oh yeah, the other one's out. Okay, well anyway, you blow in here and it goes bang out like that.
What you do is because there's only one. Take two. There's only one in one side, but there are two in the other, and obviously you saw the air come out of one side. What you have to do is put the other one back in once it's come out with oil, and use a socket to hold it in place against the other side, or you can clamp it as well. Otherwise, obviously, you don't make a seal, and it won't come out. But that one's going to come out anyway because we just took that one out. That one's the first one that came out, to be honest. The other one took a bit more effort.
But apologies, we'll show you on the other one.
That's okay.
You mean 3?
Take 3. We're doing this quickly because it's New Year's Eve in 2024, and we want to get out.
We want to celebrate.
We're going to go and celebrate. So, yeah.
We both have places to be.
people to see.
Indeed. So Happy New Year to you all, if you celebrate it.
I hope you have a prosperous 2025 and a happy 2025.
Yeah.
And you're all well, which is the most important thing.
I agree.
I'll come out now. I can get that. I think it's...
Go on then.
Oh, no, I can't.
I wasn't making it. I wasn't hamming it up for the camera.
There you go. They're both out.
So,
we could probably try and get the other side out. We're just giving up.
Don't have time.
Okay.
I don't think.
Anyway,
As you can see, it's hard to see actually. We should get a light on that.
shall I see if the...
As you can see in there, in fact, you can see better than us. The bores look all right. They need probably honing.
You see where they
That
rust?
one doesn't look that well. Actually.
Where they rust is just on the wrong side of the seal.
Make sure it's focused.
So where they rust is just on the wrong side of the seal. Now these are chromed by the looks of it. Yeah, they're chromed. We're going to replace them with stainless steel, and you can get the same. Basically, Martin Roby sell these for Jags. The Jag has a non-vented disc. If you lift that up, this has a spacer in there.
Hold on, look at the camera.
See that spacer? That's the only difference. Yeah. But these sides are the same, and the handbrakes are the same. It must have slightly different shoes because it's. Oh no, it won't have different shoes.
It'll just be spaced out.
It's
more.
just that because there's a bigger disc goes in there. But we can buy stainless steel repair kits for about 40 quid for
£40.
I think £40, and those things, if you buy them from Aston Martin, well, are very expensive. And yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've put it through the sandblaster. Alex has put it through the parts washer. We've got another one to do there. This one looks a bit better. You can probably see that one. It's a bit shinier on the outside.
The seals.
That one will probably come out. The seals were better on this one. What you also do, just quickly to show the ladies and gentlemen, to get these to move first, you put them in the vise and push them in, which basically frees them up because otherwise you'll never get them out.
Or you can use a G clamp.
Yeah, you can use one of these.
We're lucky enough to have a vise. We found the vise in the basement of this house when moved in.
But you can use that to compress and push the cylinders in a bit to just free them up.
Wonder how old that is. As you can see, it's made in England.
Record
G clamp. Brilliant. A little bit of history there.
Oh,
just in time. Hold on.
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. We're back to fixing bits, which is actually, I really enjoy doing this stuff. I've got my proper mask. We are using router cans. Nothing wrong with using router cans as long as you repair the surfaces well. You'll all, I'm sure, have seen people painting whole cars on YouTube. I wouldn't suggest that, but for parts like this, router cans do a perfectly good job. Trying to set up a compressor with a spray gun and then cleaning it out afterwards is a proper pain in the neck. And parts like this, you just get a really, really good finish anyway without doing that. So there's no point. I have used a tiny bit of filler where mechanics maybe dropped a spanner on it. I might have to do a bit more filling. You can see the inside where it's a bit wet there. It didn't really get open to the elements. It's in really good condition, so we won't do anything with that. We'll just paint it, well, prep it again and paint it. This, though, we have to sand it down multiple times. I've given it one sand. I've given it one fill, but this is high build primer. We'll just keep getting it down. You can see I've rubbed through. We'll get it down so it's nice and smooth. Take all the imperfections out, and that will eventually have a really lovely finish. Ready to go back on the car. And then I've already sandblasted this. Alex cleaned it in the parts washer. The other one's been sandblasted on top. And if you remember, I used the DA orbital sander as well to get most of the paint off. And then we sandblasted the inside to get the paint off the inside. It's really good. It'll look wonderful. I'm just about to paint it again. This is a little, I think it's a 1 kilowatt heater. It's really good, but it's warming this up nicely, and it's also warming the rattle cans. Make sure there, because this basement's really quite cold. Yeah, and I'll show you the finish when it's done. I think you'd be quite impressed. I did used to paint cars when I was younger with a friend. Really did it as a part-time thing. He didn't pay me. It was just really I wanted to learn how to do it. And I worked after school and at weekends. And I painted my first classic BMW 3-litre CSI. Oh God, in the 80s, and it actually came out really nice. One thing to remember to do before you paint: turn the heater off. I mean, that's an open element. We don't want a bushfire or any kind of fire for that matter. So yeah, I mean, that's nice and warm now. Rattle can's nice and warm. Let's give it a go. I'll give it a quick tack down. These are what are called tack rags. They're like a sticky cloth, slightly sticky. They're not super sticky. When you're painting, to get like an environment like this particularly, just to get any bits of dust off, you don't do it hard. You do a really gentle wipe, because actually the glue can come off these, but you can see there's not much on that. So I'll give that a quick tack over, and then I'll paint it. How exciting is that? Actually get to see us paint something else apart from the car. These things last for quite a while, so you don't just use them once. You can turn them inside out, but they stay. I'll probably use that for the final coat as well. Keep it in reasonable good condition by keeping it covered up. Even with Even with rattle cans, you should wear a mask, especially if you're inside. Just leave that to dry. There's that airbox cover. It looks nice and smooth now. It's pretty good actually. Needs to be run down again. That's a second coat of high build primer. It's had a tiny bit of filler where it had some dents in it, but really a tiny fraction. And there's the very high temperature paint that we'll use to paint it. And yeah, it's looking really good. Obviously there's another one of those to do, and the underside of that, but yeah, all good.